Hello and welcome to part 5 of this walkthrough for Steve Jackson's Sorcery. In our previous video, we've gone through the village of Biritanti, we've met Jan, we've met Candragor, and we've sent them both on their way to the Plague Village so they can get the villagers to the waterfall and get them cured. It's now time to carry on with our adventure. We're now at the highest point in the hills, where the trees are thin, the view west goes on forever, and sometimes we catch a glimpse of Kare on the northern horizon. So let's keep going. As we make our way through the trees, we're going to come to a dead stop. Something is moving through the trees behind you. A moment later, a point of steel has emerged from the darkness between two trees and touches your neck. You've seen me, whispers a voice. I know it. Select Answer. I see nothing, you call back. You're quite safe. It is not I who is not safe, returns the voice. Select Prepare to Fight. We only have a moment to draw our sword before the tall, dark figure of an assassin emerges from the trees. He is dressed head to toe in black, and you have not seen him a moment before, even though he has been standing a mere arm's length away from us. He wields a sharp scimitar in expert hands. Select the option Cast a Spell. Now this assassin's quite a good fighter, so we're going to give ourselves an advantage. Select Zap, so that's Z, A, P, and Cast. It's going to severely weaken the assassin but not defeat him. Pause the video. Once you've won the fight, click Continue. The fight's not an easy one, but eventually we get the upper hand. The assassin tumbles to the ground, and he says to us, I am not so proud as to not admit when I am beaten. You may finish me if you so choose, but if you do me the honour and use my own blade. We're not going to kill him today. Instead, select the option Spare him. He says that we're an honourable man and he's glad to meet us, and now that we've saved him, we own him in part. He says his name is Flanker, and that he's a thief and an assassin. Asked him, why did you attack me? He's going to say that it's quite a simple matter, and he usually picks on wayfarers for practice and hides and kills them, and he assumed that we would be no match. Obviously, he's wrong. He asks us, are we travelling to Kare? Select Yes. He's going to say that he's going that way as well. He won't travel with us, but once we're there, perhaps we will meet him. Ask him what his business in Kare is. He's going to explain that the nobles of the city have had rumours. Goblins are reopening the old mines and they want to know why. Remembering your conversation from Dumpus and what you saw in the mines, select the option They are arming for a war with the villagers. Flanker agrees with you, but says that the goblins are not searching for iron. Instead, they seem to be searching for something else, and he recalls that once great and powerful men lived here, men of great knowledge in sorcery. Select Long Gone Now. Flanker shakes his head. Not gone, changed. There is a village of giants in these hills. That is what those men became. The ancient miners once ran a great city spanning from the Kakabad Sea as far north as the Janka mines. That was where they mined the ore that forged the crown. And it's that metal, that power, which the goblins are searching for. If Mangpang should rise, it'll be their only hope. Select The Crown Will Be Recovered. Flanker's eyes are wise and insightful. I will see you again, he says fiercely, in Kare. He bows his head again. This time it is definitely from pain. Go, he hisses. You cannot aid me. Select Help him. No, you reply. I have caused your wounds. I will help you. He grins and says, are you a doctor? I do not think you are. Select Bind his wounds. We're going to tear strips from his dark fabric and bind his wounds tightly to lessen the bleeding. You are too kind to a man who is about to kill you, he murmurs. Let that be your lesson, you reply, as you gather your things and head out through the forest, leaving him behind. you sense that you have made a powerful friend. Select Continue and go to the flag, Leave the trees. You continue along the path and a wooden hut comes into view with an old woman sitting on the front step. A river flows beneath the hut and plunges over the edge of a sheer cliff and disappears. Select Greet the woman. The woman looks at us and smiles. Come over here, won't you? I can barely see you. Click Continue and go to the flag, approach the woman. The woman has a toothless smile and says, Come in please. I get so lonely living out here on my own away from the villagers. Select Go inside. She thanks us and says that she's going to bring us some tea, although she sounds almost nervous. Select the option Make Conversation. Select What is your name? The woman replies that her name is Gaza Moon, and she used to be quite well known. Select the option Why do you live alone? She says almost sweetly, no one bothers me, and why would they? And you can't help but notice that she's not really answered the question. Select This is a beautiful place. She turns to us and replies, This is the top of the crystal waterfall. The river runs right under my house. They say it carries all my goodness and youth away while I sleep, and the villagers bathe in it for luck. She giggles meanly, I'm sure it isn't quite true. We're about to take a sip of our tea when the old woman catches our arm. Oh, she replies, I've forgotten the pot. And she goes back to the kitchen. Now we know this trick. She thinks we're going to swap our teas, so it's best to stick with the mug that we've already got. Select Drink my tea. You lift your mug, blow away the steam, and take a sip as the old lady returns. She lifts her own mug and takes a deep gulp, but starts spluttering and coughing and grips her side. Select Helper. Something wrong? Oh, no, 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 she replies, trying to smile, but clearly doubled up in pain. Stumbling and almost falling, she staggers to her kitchen and gulps down another drink. When she returns, she seems much better. I am not as young as I once was, she explains. All the same, she pushes her tea to one side. But tell me, what about you? Are you a traveller? Select Yes. That's right, I'm going to Kare. She claps her hands and says, How wonderful, such a delightful city. Tell me, on your journey, did you happen to come across an old man? You remember the old man stuck up a tree, and you think you know where this is going. Select Yes. Not just any old man, she insists. This one was carrying a page from a spell book. As we suspected, select Show her the page. She starts giggling with glee and snatches it from our hands. Ask her, who was the old man? She says, a rogue and a bandit. 4 days ago I was visited by a traveller such as yourself, but when I was away making my tea, as I always do, he started leafing through my book and tore out a page. He must have been a wizard of power, because he vanished almost too fast for me to curse him. Select, will you uncurse him now? Well, she looks a little uncomfortable. I think it might be too late. I aged him to almost 130 years, you see. I wanted to slow him down, but instead I sped him up. And she giggles. She fusses with the page, repairing a spell book with some gentle magic, and you take the opportunity to leave. Click Continue. Go to the flag outside the village. Just a quick side note for those of you who are curious, the spell page that the old man gave us was a spell to get rid of pests, so if Jan was still with us when we met Gaza Moon, she would have offered to get rid of him for us. Carrying on, it's now late afternoon, and we pass the brow of the next hill, where we can see our final village, Turapani. Select the option Observe it. It's a village for the Spin, an aggressive-looking race of man-orcs. Select Go into town. Select Continue, and go to the flag into Torapani. As you enter the village, there is a definite air of depression hanging over the place. The spins are going about their business, but slowly and miserably, and they pay you no heed. You sit yourself down on a tree stump in the very center of the village to consider your options. Select Make contact with the villagers first. You spy a group of spins sitting outside a low hut and walk over to them. They are discussing a friend who was apparently killed by an assassin in the middle of the night. Select I met this assassin. They look at you and say, you meet him? You still alive? Select I spared him. They get angry at you and say, why you spare murderer? You murderer? Select no. That's why I spared him. Your logic is too much for this Sven. They spit a gob of green goop on the ground and break wind. Another Sven bangs his head down on the table. But with Esh dead, who saved Tia? Select who is Tia? Our flower. The Sven who answers wipes a tear from the corner of his eye. Tia is Chief's daughter. The other Sven says, Esh was to save her. Now Esh not alive. Soon Tia, soon not alive. Tell the Sven I'll save her. You, replies the Sven, you thin and weak, not even green. Trouble is, another says, our village die if Chief line end. Tia is end. So if end ends, we end. All very sad. Very sad, they all agree. Who are you? One asks suddenly, as if only just thinking of it. Tell them that you're a sorcerer. Sorcerer! A sudden gleam enters the biggest one's eye. Great sorcerer? Select, I do my best. Best is good. Meek, Tifa. He signals the others who are quickly on their feet and with their hefty arms are swinging you over. We take to Chief. Before you can resist, they have you and are hurling your body on their shoulders. Ask them, where are you taking me? They don't give you a reply, but eventually you reach the low hut at the edge of the village. You are set down on the ground carefully. Go to the flag, captured. The door is slammed and locked. A moment later it reopens and your possessions are thrown inside. You might as well make the best of the situation, so select eat something. Select try to sleep. And once again your mind is filled with dreams. Click continue. And go to the flag daybreak. At daybreak you're still alone. An hour passes before you hear any noise outside, and then finally 5 spins are going to come in. They drag you roughly out and across the street to another hut, where an old man with grey hair sits. He's going to look at you and says, my name Perseus, Chief. He slaps his chest twice. I apologize. Select the option, apology accepted. He nods and then waves to somebody to bring in some bread and milk. Select eat it. Gratefully, you bolt down the meal. It does not seem to be poisoned and it nourishes you. Once you've finished, the chief says to you, I have need of you and your strength. Respond with, I will help if I can. He's going to bow and says, I am grateful. My daughter, my child, she is taken, offered to a terrible demon below. Select the option, I will try or die trying. The chief claps you on the shoulder with a clawed hand. He gestures to the other spins who, still taking no chances, grab you by your arm and haul you to your feet. Click continue and go to the flag, a crack in the ground. And that's the end of part 5. Join us in the next video where we'll be finishing book 1 and facing the dreaded Manticore.